What's up, guys? Bajheera here. Got some Warrior 3v3 arenas on the Warlords of Draenor Beta for you guys. Gonna be playing an Arms Warrior for these arenas. And I've been getting a lot of questions on how are Warriors looking in the Warlords of Draenor Beta. And that's a question that I am sort of hesitant to give you like a definite answer on, but not because I can't tell you how they're looking right now, but just because things are subject to change. And at least in this beta cycle, we have seen that happen a lot. Warriors have gone through a whole bunch of different stages of different experiments that, you know, the developers are trying out with the way we deal damage, with our ability set, you know, how our stances work, so and all sorts of things like that. And eventually, we sort of came back to where we started, I think, except with less than we had before, sort of. And that's what I mean. But right now, the way Warriors are looking is, we're looking okay. I feel like our ability set is kind of small. We don't have as much utility as we had before, but one of the reasons why we stay relevant is because we do damage. So you'll see at the end of these matches, I'm often pretty high up on the charts in terms of damage, and for what it's worth, damage does make you somewhat viable, even if you don't have a great toolkit, even if you're not extremely useful to your team. Aside from anything other than doing damage, you know, in that sense, you still are effective just because you deal so much damage. But not really sure if that's the way I want to be viable as a warrior. In looking at the Mist of Pandaria warrior, I mean, we do have a really solid mix of single target damage, AoE damage. We've got high utility, good mobility, and it makes it a really fun and effective class to play. And warriors are definitely not the only class with that, you know, with that amount of usefulness all across the board. You know, you see that warriors are a very, very highly played class in terms of the percentage of classes being played, and I think that's because it's a fun class. It feels good to be able to be effective at what you do, and it's just a fun class to play. So when you look at the Warlords of Draenor warrior, and a lot of that sort of those fun mechanics have been removed in favor of nothing, really. Like they've just been taken out. They haven't really been replaced with anything. They're just gone. It's kind of, it's going to be an adjustment process. But that being said, I mean, I have still definitely enjoyed playing Arms Warrior. I definitely still think it's my favorite spec to play in the beta. And the fact that it's going to take some adjustments to get used to in Warlords of Draenor doesn't really bother me that much. Because it seems like in a lot of ways, Warlords of Draenor is trying to make a pretty substantial change to the World of Warcraft all across the board. I mean, they're scaling down stats. They are changing every class, not just warriors. They're trying to bring us back to a place not only where things aren't so crazy in terms of the numbers, but also so things aren't so crazy in terms of your ability sets. And one of the reasons for doing this is because you can build off of that. It becomes kind of crazy to think that you can just keep building off of where we are in terms of like Mist of Pandaria. Like, we all have a bazillion abilities, and giving us more abilities doesn't necessarily make anything more fun. It might just make it more complex unnecessarily without adding any sort of skill or fun to the game. But if you are willing to take a few steps back, you know, to learn from what you've done in the past in the World of Warcraft, take a few steps back, simplify things just a little bit, but still have it be fun, that gives you a chance to build from where you are at that time. So that's what we're doing with Warlords of Draenor. At least that's what I have in my mind. That's what I'm trying to keep active in my mind, so that I'm not like, oh my god, they're destroying my class, boo. Because that's not a helpful thought. A helpful thought is, you know what, they're making changes. I enjoy World of Warcraft. It's still fun. I'm still enjoying this, so let's go with it. That's what I'm going to try to do. But anyways, in terms of these arenas, what you're going to see me doing is going pretty ham. Now, these are just 3v3 arena skirmishes on the beta, so in terms of the quality of opponents and the quality of my teammates and my own play, I'm pretty sure we're all just there to have fun. So we're not you know, doing the most intense arena matches ever. You know, people are trying out new classes, getting used to the classes that they played before that are substantially different, like an Arms Warrior. But everybody's just there to have fun. But these arenas, you know, what I've noticed is that definitely people seem a bit tankier than before, but things like that is just number tuning. So they're gonna figure, the more people play arena on beta, the more that we're gonna help the developers figure things out. and the more things are going to become balanced out. But like I said, as a warrior right now, my plan is to get in there and get wild on these guys. We don't have AoE bleeds anymore. We don't have like deep wounds applying on Thunderclap, but we still have, we've been given rend back, so we do have a bleed. You can multi-dot if you want to, just, you know, tab rend people if you felt like it. And rend doesn't really have a high rage cost. Doesn't really do a ton of damage either, but you know, it might be worth it. But one of the ways that you're going to get such high damage on the meters and on the damage charts at the end of the match is through the AoE that you do. If you're noticing, I'm whirlwinding a lot as a warrior. And the reason for that is because Whirlwind has become sort of your main, like, quote, filler ability. I never really felt that, like warriors had a filler ability, like you always turn to one thing, but I think in a lot of ways that was either overpower or slammed, and I sort of make that decision. This is another question that I get often: how do I decide whether overpower or slam? And it was usually based off Colossus smashes. But right now, Whirlwind is going to be your filler ability. So you're constantly AoEing whenever you're not using your other two abilities, which are Colossus Smash and Mortal Strike. And the reason I laugh is because you only have like 2 abilities. But if you take Sudden Death, then you can execute, and if you take Slam, then you can slam. But those are talents, and you can choose one or the other. And Sudden Death gives you a chance to have your execute be free and usable at any health. So, but the only thing is, it doesn't use extra rage to deal extra damage. So, still a hard-hitting ability, still worth using. But you'll see here, I get a Sudden Death proc and get this guy down pretty low. But he's gonna run over an ice block. We don't have Shattering Throw anymore. That's another thing. But anyway, well, as I was saying, before I get there's so much to talk about, and I feel like I've posted lots of videos about Warlords of Draenor, but I definitely want to go over these things just in case you guys aren't in the loop. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to check out the rest of the Warlords of Draenor playlist. Posted like 150 plus videos. But once again, getting a little bit off track. But as I often do in videos like this, these are fun for me. These are like almost like PvP vlogs for me. Just kind of showing you guys some arenas. You can watch the gameplay and listen to me ramble about PvP. But the reason, once again, the reason why warriors do so much AoE damage is because you are whirlwinding a lot. Get that Cyclone Reflect in there. You are whirlwinding a lot, but you also can use sweeping strikes to even increase your cleave damage. So your opponents aren't just bleeding as much, but if you're in their face and they're stacking up, you're definitely going to be able to get some serious AoE damage on them. And this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, is that things are going to be different for warriors, but I think that a lot of what makes warriors, you know, fun to some extent, you know, like I said, we're losing our CC, we're losing a lot of utility, but it's going to be a familiar experience for you at least. At least it is for me. Like, I still feel like I'm playing an arms warrior. I just feel like I have a lot fewer abilities than I had before. And this is going to be an interesting match. So we fought these guys before, and we ended up losing because I'm saying it came down a lot to me not using the Warbringer charge. That's another huge change that I'm not like super pumped about, is that now in order for charge to stun, I'm kind of wording this strangely, charge now is a root, and in order for charge to stun, you have to talent into the Warbringer talent, which puts charge on a 20-second cooldown, but gives it back its normal stun. So basically, your other 2 charge talents, the Juggernaut and Double Time, those are going to just give you the same thing they've always done, you know, a 12-second cooldown or a 20-second cooldown with 2 charges, but charge is only going to root. And as a warrior, that's not really giving me enough interrupts. I have a pummel and I have a stun, and healers are very strong right now. And running WLD with Affliction Warlock, my plan is basically to let my Warlock dot these 2 guys, and I'm just going to go tunnel the Priest and see if I can kill him. And that's for 2 reasons. One is because I feel like it's a fine strategy. 2, because I want to test if I can actually kill a healer as a warrior. And it looks like after a while, with some dots and with consistent pressure, I can do that. Spoiler alert. But I think Warbringer charge is going to be fairly necessary for warriors. I've been trying out the Juggernaut charge, I've been trying out Double Time charge on the beta, and they really both pale in comparison to that Charge Stun. Charge Stun is such an important part of our arsenal as a warrior, and the fact that it's on a 20-second cooldown does make it kind of lame, because so many things have been changed, and not even like positive changes. So many things that I just can just say it. So many things have been nerfed with our mobility. If you try to use the glyph of Heroic Leap, Death from Above, that reduces the cooldown of Heroic Leap by 15 seconds, your Heroic Leap becomes a shorter range than Charge. You get a 20-yard range on your Heroic Leap, which definitely feels small, because it is. It's a very short range now. But, I mean, it's a gap closer on a lower cooldown, so I guess they wanted to balance it that way. And now Safeguard, it still does give the damage mitigation to your allies, but it no longer breaks out you out of snares. So you find yourself in a different sort of position than you were before. There you go. Finally got the kill on that priest, but even though I had to use my Warbringer super long cooldown charge, that charge stun is so valuable, so necessary, and we'll see how warriors do without it. But yeah, like I was saying, a lot of things have been changed, and for warriors, I don't want to sound too complaining, but as is often the case, it was just for the worse. So, but like, you know, even though we've gotten some nerfs along the way, I mean, like I said, it's all for the best of the game is what I want to believe. And as you can see, warriors are still tearing it up just fine. So nothing to get too concerned about, but just want to let you guys know what's going on. But in the grand scheme of things, I still really am enjoying the warrior. I still think it's a lot of fun to play. I'm not pumped about having Whirlwind be our main filler. Like, I would love to see Overpower back. I would love to have Overpower back so much. But apparently they're reducing the dodge and parry chance across the board. I mean, it's less likely for you to be dodged and parried. And there was some misunderstanding at some point that they were thinking about removing dodge and parry from the game. And maybe it was my misunderstanding only. Maybe other people shared this misunderstanding. That does not mean that the effects of dodge and parry are no longer going to be in the game. It just means that you're not going to get those stats from gear. So you still can get dodged, you still can get parried, and hopefully that they said that chance is going to be reduced a little bit. But Overpower still would be a lovely thing to have back. That's kind of like the only thing on my wish list right now, because I'm not trying to get warriors into an super OP state where they get nerfed and then it's even less fun, once things go live. But when things are getting tuned in the beta, you always got to have an attitude of kind of being open to the changes, being open to working with the developers and being willing to put in the time, put in the testing, and even if things don't go your way, still trying to have a relatively good attitude about it. But right now, Arms Warriors are still fun, definitely getting tuned out, definitely getting everything figured out. But if you guys hang in there with me, I'll keep you updated, and hopefully things will go well. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Definitely got more Warlords of Draenor content coming for you soon. But until then, I'll see you next time. Peace!